The idea of a podcast has been around since the 1980s, with the original name of audio blogging. With the rise of the internet and the arrival of portable delivery devices such as the iPod, the podcasting world started to catch on a bit more around 2004. Podcasts were the answer to the declining pull of radio shows, as they offered more variety and an opportunity to download audio content that wasn't music. However, podcasts have really started to take over the listening world over the last few years. With the growth of smartphone capacity and the rise of audio streaming, pioneered primarily by Apple, Spotify and Amazon's Audible, the availability of podcasts has shot up, pushing it to the forefront of many marketing plans for big companies, and giving rise to some of the best new content creators in the game. This is EntreConnect on podcasting. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. If you stick around, you'll be notified when we release our first podcast. Click the bell to stay up to date with all our content. Podcasting has opened the door to many big names such as Joe Rogan, the UFC legend, but has also shone down on many creatives such as Jamie Morton of My Dad Wrote a Porno. However, many businesses and CEOs have hopped on the trend to produce their own podcasts. They've become a key driving force in the marketing plan of many companies, as they provide an open look into the business or the mind of the CEO. They allow an extra level of transparency that in the past has been non-existent. The ability for a podcast to drive a conversation provides a looking glass into different industries and practices, allowing for gripping and thought-provoking content that's cheap to produce. Alongside this is the valid cliche that content is king. The ability to put out high-quality content in podcast form keeps your name in the spotlight, and hence keeps your brand's image in the best position possible. With the ability to put it out onto any streaming platform, as well as the ability to monetize your podcast using advertising and sponsorship, it's understandable that podcasting has made a huge dent in the marketing world. If you are thinking about starting a podcast about your business though, here's a few things to think about before you do. Firstly, spot your niche. Because so many business owners and content creators know the benefits of podcasting, there's a saturation of common topics and structures. Do your research and see where your topic fits into the audio world. How many are there of that type? How can you differ your podcast from the others that exist? Basically, what's your USP? Once you've worked this out, move on to the content. While your USP is likely to be based on the structure of your podcast and how it approaches different topics, your content has to be informative and high quality. It can have the best structure in the world and still be dull because of the content. Make sure it's worth listening to. If possible, make it something you have a particular insight into, something very few others could provide. Look at That Peter Crouch podcast. Even though it's not business related, the insight of Crouchy into the world of football from a player's perspective offers something you can't really get anywhere else. It's why it blew up so quickly, a mixture of Crouchy's own reputation and his insight. Making sure you can provide both of these is the best way to keep people listening to your podcast. It makes listeners come back. It makes them listen to the whole thing, which can massively boost your revenue from the content. However, the main advice to take with using podcasting in your marketing strategy is to make sure you have a core audience and content base first. This could be a strong social media following, a core group of YouTube subs, or another platform that will show your content to a variety of people, such as LinkedIn. Without a starting platform to get your content out to, you lose the ability to have listeners, to use another Crouchy reference, pass the pod, meaning there'll be less reach and so minimal growth. One way to get past this is with guests. At the beginning of Joe Rogan's podcasting career, people weren't necessarily coming for him, but for his guests. He's now had the likes of Elon Musk and Russell Brand on the Joe Rogan Experience, and has just got an $100 million deal with Spotify. Brand's podcast offers a similar premise, with slightly lesser known guests providing stories that no one else has ever told. If you have a network that allows you to talk to more established members of the business world, using that can help to boost your brand. There's approximately 1 billion podcast listeners out there, and this number is rising. If you can draw the audience in using these tips, your podcast can not only make you money, but provide a brand exposure that not much else can. Don't sleep on the podcast world.